Hello my fellow book addicts, Megan here, and time for another book review. Today I'm going to be talking about Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and this is book 1 in the Red Queen series. So I really like this book. I thought the characters were great, I thought the idea of it was great, I thought the plot was great. I really did not have any complaints about this book. So in this world, there are two types of people. There are the Silvers and the Reds. And they are called this because of the color of their blood. The Silvers bleed silver blood, the Reds red. Pretty simple and straightforward. But, you know, Silvers are also a little bit different in they have some sort of ability. Like, some can control water, some can control metal, some can control fire, and so on and so forth. It's not just elemental powers, there are some others as well. It's these abilities that make the Silvers, quote-unquote, better than the Reds, thus giving them power over the Reds. The Reds are seen as basically vermin. They are average Joes like you or me, who just are not treated very well. And there's also this war going on between the Silver Kingdoms. And the poor Reds are basically used as fodder in this war. They're happily sent off to fight and die, you know, to protect the Silvers. And this is horrifying as well, because any idle Reds that are not apprenticed to a trade or doing important work for whatever reason, are basically enlisted for this war once they turn 18. And our main character, whose name is Mare, is 17, going on 18, and she is not an apprentice to a master. She doesn't really have a job. She's basically a thief. So she's gonna be enlisted once she turns 18. And she's had time to kind of accept this. There's no getting out of it. If you run, you are hunted down and killed. So, you know, at least at the battlefront, you kind of have a fighting chance. And her 3 older brothers have already been enlisted. The only one in her family who is guaranteed to be safe is her younger sister, who is an apprentice. So she's safe. She is completely safe, and she'll be there to support her parents. But unfortunately, things very quickly change for Mare. Her best friend, who is also an apprentice, loses his master. His master has an accident and dies, and there's no other jobs. There's no one who will take him on. So he's now in the same situation as Mare. And Mare doesn't want to lose her friend. It was horrible enough having to watch her brothers go off and knowing that she's going to be stuck going off. So she tries to come up with a plan to save them both now. This is the little push she needed to help herself and her best friend. Unfortunately, this plan is going to require a whole lot of money. Much more money than she has or will be able to come up with on her own in a day's time, which is the deadline she needs this money to smuggle her and her friend out of here. So, with the help of her younger sister Giza, or Gissa, I'm still working on the pronunciation, she manages to convince her to take her to work with her the next day so she can take a huge risk and try and pickpocket from Silvers instead of her fellow Reds. But because Murphy's Law, anything that could go wrong will go wrong. There ends up being a huge riot in this little town area place. This rebel group who calls himself the Scarlet Guard attacks the capital, the Silver Capital, and quite a bit of damage was done. The Silvers are furious that these insignificant Reds are rising up against them. This is the first time they heard of them, so they basically attack any Red in sight. So chaos breaks out. And Mare quickly has to give up her pickpocketing quest, because what use is all that money gonna be if she or her sister is killed in this chaos? Unfortunately, poor Gissa breaks her hand. The bone is completely shattered, and this is her sewing hand. So now she's going to be unable to provide for her family. She's not going to be able to work anymore, and once she turns 18, she's going to have to go off and fight in the war, provided she doesn't find a new master. Poor Mare feels horrible. She completely blames herself for this. And she is not in a good place right now. She bolts away from home and is trying so hard to still come up with that money. And in the process, she meets a guy who calls himself Cal, and he manages to hook her up with a job as a servant for the Silvers, which will give her a very good pay. It's going to save her from needing to go off and fight. So she's going to live, and she'll be able to support her family. And maybe get that extra money so she can at least maybe save her friend and her sister. And because, we can't stop there, something happens to Mare her first day on the job. And it's something that's going to turn this entire world upside down. And because I don't want to give that little surprise away, I am going to stop here, and I'm going to hop into my spoilery bit in a little bit. But this book was awesome. There wasn't a second in this book where I felt bored. I was constantly interested, I was constantly intrigued. There was just never a dull moment. I absolutely love this world that we have been introduced to, and I'm really excited to see what happens in The Glass Sword. So yeah, I am going to go into a more spoilery bit now. So if you have not finished this book, I really highly suggest you click away now and come back after you read the book. It's really worth a read. So, I really like the fact that Mare is a red, but she has an ability like a silver. And it just throws everyone for a loop, and it's really cool. So I really enjoy Cal and Marvin. I think their relationship as half-brothers is really interesting and how different they both are. Cal, the typical heir of the throne, knowing what he has to do, yada yada yada. Marvin, the second son, kind of overlooked a lot. While he's not the most physical of the two of them, what he doesn't have in physical strength, he makes up with his cunning mind. And for most of the book, I kind of was cringing a bit at the whole love triangle that was kind of being pushed a little bit. Cal liking Mare, Mare kind of liking Cal, but having to stop herself because he's the heir. I kind of understood, but I was also kind of annoyed at Cal's, logic. I know the Reds are treated horribly, it's not right, but if I change that as king, it's gonna throw everything else off. I'm not gonna stay king long, they'll probably overthrow me, and things aren't gonna end well, so better not mess with the status quo. It sucks now, but it could be worse if I mess with it, so I'm not going to do anything. He doesn't want to take that risk. So I can get the logic behind that, but I still don't like it. I still hate Cal for thinking like that. And I applaud Mare for not liking him for that. Because, these are her people, her friends and family. They're the ones who are being sent off to be killed in this war that they really want nothing a part of, that they're basically living in the mud and treated like crap just because they aren't Silvers. So I do like how she does kind of use that to try not to fall for Cal too much. And I do like how the love triangle is just completely shattered when we find out that Marvin isn't the perfect Prince Charming he was portraying himself as. I did think he was a little too good to be true as I was reading it. It seemed a little too convenient that he agreed with Mare so much. Because, what are the odds, right? A silver prince feeling exactly how she does and wanting to do something about it? It just seemed a little too much for me. And he basically ends up being a backstabbing little bitch. With the help of his mother, Cal's stepmother, they use Cal to kill the king because one of the queen's abilities is to basically get into people's heads and to control them. So Cal's hand killed the king, but he was being controlled by the queen. So during all that, during Marvin's great betrayal, I wanted to strangle him. I get the resentment he feels, because his father has been basically overlooking him for years, praising Cal to high heavens, because he's the heir, the firstborn, the prodigy. That gets under a kid's skin after a while. Seeing your sibling getting all this praise and all this attention and all this love, and then being ignored yourself, that's gonna sting. And the queen wasn't too happy about it either. I really don't see much ways for Marvin to be redeemed after that. And I really hope they drop that love triangle. I really do. Usually I don't mind love triangles. Sometimes they can be done fabulously. And there are some love triangles I really like. But most of the time, they just come off as really unnecessary. I want to facepalm through all of them, and it's just, why is this here? So yeah, now that we've established Malvin is a bad guy, I really hope that's dropped. And I just really hope we don't pick up a new love triangle with Cal and Killorn, I think. I don't know how to say his name. Because no. I don't want to drop one love triangle for another. And the twist that Mare is not the only red with abilities. The fact that there is kind of a mutation in other reds that give them abilities too. Most of them on the Warfront have mysteriously been transferred to another legion and then die somewhere or another. Be them killed in battle, killed for trying to desert, or whatever. Either way, they're somehow killed and their bodies are somehow either misplaced or cremated, or they were unable to retrieve them for whatever reason. Basically, they vanished without a trace after being killed. So there are all these reds with abilities, and there's a huge list of others out there that they now are going to have to find. And it's going to be a huge race because Marvin also knows of this list. So now Mare, Cal, and the Stark Garlic Guard have to try and find these other reds before the Silvers do and kill them. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but there's just so much I would love to talk about. But I feel so much happens in this first book that it's kind of hard for me to keep my head straight. And if the Glass Sword is going to be anything like this, I will gladly welcome it. I'm excited to keep on reading. I really don't have anything else to say that's even part-way coherent. So I'm going to end this review here and say once again that I really like this book, highly recommend it, and I am excited for the Glass Sword. That is it for this video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Keep on reading, my fellow book addicts. Keep on reading.